Okay, guys. So today we have a new topic: how to prove a number irrational. Here we have given a question that prove that under root two is irrational. Now to prove any number as irrational, we have to assume it contrary that it is rational. Here we have to prove that under root 2 is irrational, but we will assume it contrary that it is rational. So in this kind of question, the very first step is that assume the contrary. So the first step, let us assume that under root 2 is rational. Now, if it is rational, we can express this number in form of a by b. Again, I am repeating, if we assume this number as rational number, we can express it in form of a by b. A by b means we can express the number in form of numerator and denominator. So in next step, I will write that therefore a by b is equal to under root 2. But here the necessary condition that there should not be any common factor between A and B except 1. This condition is so much important. If you will not cite this condition in this step, it will be an incomplete answer. Okay, so I will write in bracket that there should not be there should not be any common factor between A and B except 1. 1 is exception as 1 is the factor of all the numbers. So it is common. But except 1 there should not be any common factor between numerator and denominator. Implies here A and B. Okay. So in next step B goes on the right side. So the next step will be A is equal to under root 2 into B. Okay. Now making the square on the both side, the expression will be a square is equal to under root 2b whole square. Therefore, a square is equal to 2b square. This is equation 1. Now in equation 1, the expression is a square is equal to 2b square. That means that 2 is the factor of a square. The expression of a square is in the multiple form of 2, and that directly means that 2 is the factor of a square. So I can write that therefore 2 is factor of a square. Second thing, if 2 is factor of a square, then it is also factor of a. When any factor is number of its square, then it is also factor of its square root. So 2 is factor of a square, that means that 2 is factor of also a. Therefore 2 is factor of a. Okay. If 2 is factor of a, then the expression of a can be written in form of multiple of 2. So in next step I am writing that therefore a is equal to 2 into c. Okay, as the 2 is factor of a, I can write the expression of a in multiple form of 2, and that is why I have write here a is equal to 2 into c. Again, making square on both sides, a square is equal to 2c whole square. Therefore, a square is equal to 4c square. Now, the value of a square from equation 1 is 2b square. So here in this expression, in place of a square, I can put 2b square. Therefore, 2b square is equal to 4c square. I am citing in bracket that I have taken this value from equation 1. So I am writing here because from equation 1. Now, making the b square the subject of equation, I can write b square is equal to 4c square divided by 2. 2 2s are 4. Therefore, b square is equal to 2c square. B square is equal to 2c square. That means that 2 is factor of b square. So I am writing here that therefore 2 is factor of b square. Again, if 2 is factor of b square, as we have done it before in case of a, here now the same thing is with b. That 2 is factor of b square. That means that 2 is also factor of b. So now see the whole sum. We had assumed contrary that root 2 is rational in first step. But to being a rational number, there was a condition that there should not be any common factor between a and b except 1. That condition was very much important. Now on simplifying we get that 2 is factor of a. On further simplification we get that 2 is factor of b. So that means that 2 is the common factor between A and B, and that is the complete violation of the condition we cited before, that there should not be any common factor. Okay, so our assumption is wrong here. The condition the condition citing that there should not be any common factor is get violated here. That means that 2 is the common factor between A and B, and therefore our assumption is incorrect that root 2 is rational number. So the final conclusion is that root 2 is irrational number. So I am explaining it here that therefore 2 is common factor. 2 is common factor between A and B. Therefore, our assumption is incorrect, and therefore under root 2 is irrational number. Okay, so this is the thing how we can prove it. Okay.